Are they done? Are they over? Is it done?
Well, following a flat out ass thrashing at the hands of the Eagles and the worst loss ever in the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey era, Kelsey's future is also undecided at this point. Is this the end for the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty as we know it?
I don't think so. The same way Philly lost in that last Super Bowl, they got to readjust. So I don't know what it was that the offensive line, whatever, just couldn't hold anything, but they didn't have the rest on their side. And that was the biggest thing why I went for Kansas City anyway, or whatever, because they always had the refs. But, they had a lot of stuff going, evaluating those refs. I think one got suspended, like it was a lot of things that was going on. So Philly, man, Philly already had a team. I felt like Philly was going to go to the Super Bowl anyway. I didn't know if they was going to win it, whatever. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a close game. I thought it might even went to overtime, but Philly definitely blew the doors off those boys. You feel me? Front four, whatever, man, killed the game, man. Carter didn't even have a sack. It was everybody else in that front four, So I just feel like they just need to make some light adjustments. The offensive line definitely, they got to fill those voids, man, because that's not going to work. They did a lot of good stuff in the regular season, but like you said, a lot of close games. A lot of those games could have been the other way around. So with those things being said, man, I feel like, man, as long as Andy Reid there, bro, he gonna make them play to the top tier. I don't see a lot of teams in the AFC. Like you said, you got Buffalo, you got the Ravens, you got Houston when they get healthy or whatever, man. It's gonna be a lot of competition or whatever. Would it be there every year and take over every year? I don't think so. But I feel like in the next year, next 2 years or whatever, they'll definitely get there one time. In the next 2 years, maybe not next year, but the year after that, I think they'll definitely get back in there, bro. Real, I think they're still strong. Pat's still strong. Like I say, man, they hit them where it hurt, bro. So
As long as you have Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football, despite all of that, he's still the best quarterback in football. That's obvious. But anytime you have him, you have a good chance to go to make a Super Bowl
believe it.
run. It doesn't matter because he's that great of a player.
Yeah.
Worst game he's ever had in his career was that Super
Right.
Bowl. But, I mean, I'll get to that here in a little bit. But I think that their official dynasty, I think it is over. But I think that comes with an asterisk here because they just made their third straight Super Bowl appearance, which they won two of them, and they've been in 5 Super Bowls since 2019. That's pretty much every year.
5 out of 7 years.
I think that's finished, is what I'm saying. Losing Super Bowl 59, I just think that was a sign that the Chiefs can be beat like anyone else moving forward. They ended up losing by 18 that game, but y'all know that did not reflect the score of that game, bro. They had 16 points scored in garbage time in the fourth quarter. They were completely dominated.
Yeah.
Mahomes finished with 257 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. That stat line definitely doesn't show what we witnessed in Super Bowl 59. That was the worst game I have ever seen Patrick Mahomes play in his professional career, bro.
100%.
I've not seen him had a game that bad since he was at fucking Texas Tech.
Right. Off balance and
it was bad.
I noticed a lot that he would run up the middle instead of like trying to back up and then cut out to the side. He would try to run through the middle. I mean, I get it, but I just felt like when he was doing that, he was running into trouble, and then he would cause for a sack or barely any gain.
Number one, he wasn't on the same page with his offensive
lineman.
Oh,
absolutely not. Hell no.
Yeah, but definitely his offensive lineman. And number two, Mahomes at times, like he was just trying to do too much. Almost like he wasn't trusting his guys. He was rattled early or something. It was literally crazy witnessing Mahomes play like that. Like somebody who hasn't been there before is what he looked like. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes. And in the interceptions he threw, like, bro, what was you looking at? I couldn't believe Patrick Mahomes was throwing those passes, but I mean, credit to Philly, bro. They shut that shit down, bro. That defense they had a couple years ago with the 70+ sacks couldn't touch him, couldn't sack him one time. This defense was all over him, bro. And it's kind of like how we talked before the game, bro. Like I feel like there's different ways they can bottle him up. They don't have to just go for his head. They ended up getting to him a couple times, but overall they weren't having none of it, bro. They completely dominated that game from start to finish.
Just a lot of drop passes and stuff too. So it was the offensive line. Drop passes, Mahomes for real. Just the footwork wasn't working. It was a lot of stuff that was going on for the Chiefs. And like I said, the refs wasn't on their side or whatever. They got a whole different set of refs. Man, for real, they got the replacement refs.
Yeah, it looked like the refs were on the Philly side. Not saying that Philly was getting any more calls, but like,
nah, Philly was dogging.
Yeah.
Philly was dogging.
Yeah, I just think it was called fair, bro.
Yeah,
I honestly think that was a pretty overall fair.
That was.
You can nitpick anything here and there in any game, but overall, there was no drastic calls. Like, dude, what the fuck? Like, seriously, like, come on, it was nothing that terrible.
But that first offensive pass interference call,
there wasn't enough there for that call. I wouldn't have called it.
I don't know.
But it was still like, oh man, here we go. Here we go. You feel me?
I thought the same thing. I think they got that back with when Philly threw it down the field and they got the helmet to head, the helmet to helmet type of thing.
That was kind of.
I think that was a wash. That's why they did that.
Yeah, it's kind of a makeup call type of thing. Which I kind of like how they do that. They give you makeup calls. They know they fucked up. I take them. Take them as you can get them. But as the Chiefs as a dynasty as a whole, I think that their overall dominance of a dynasty, being in the Super Bowl every year, every 2 years, I think that is over. They're a legitimate threat every year just because of Mahomes. But overall, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, the war may not be over, but the battle was terribly lost. Now it's time to strategize and plan your next attack heading into the next season.
So with that being said, if they go to 3 out of the next 5 Super Bowls and win 2 more, would you still consider that a dynasty?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah, absolutely. So I just don't think they're going to do that. I just think the AFC is like, so, because remember, the Bills was right there to me, bro. The Bengals had the horrible defense. They'll get better. And they were this.
You hope they'll get better.
Still squeezing in. More often than not, probably the Bengals will squeeze in there. And if the Chiefs get matched up with the Bengals, we've seen that problematic before. 1 year the Ravens have got to win a big game.
You think so?
I think in the next 5 years, I feel like the Ravens will get there one time, the Bills will get there one time, and Kansas City will probably go to the next 3 out of the 5 going into 2030.
Really?
Definitely.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Depending on how long Andy Reid coaches, I think they might kind of do what the Pats did. The Pats went 10 years without making a Super Bowl, and you can argue that they had 2 different dynasties. One, when Brady first started, 10 years without making it, and then after that, when they made it again, went on another tear. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he has multiple Hall of Fame careers.
Exactly.
Right. He does.
And so does Mahomes, bro. Honestly,
he
Mahomes does too.
But
he had a Hall of Fame career fucking 2 Super Bowls ago.
True.
Honestly.
Yeah. I just think it all depends on how much longer Andy Reid will coach, because I think once he beats Belichick's playoff wins record and then the all-time wins record, I mean, and say if he got another Super Bowl around that time, I think he'd hang it up.
That man been coaching forever, bro. He ain't got nothing to prove. But Wes, yes or no? You think the dynasty's over?
Well, if Travis Kelce, I've seen conflicting reports that he said that he's got a lot left in the tank, but he wants to mull it over if he has the motivation and shit like that. Even though he didn't really do a fucking thing this entire season, and especially in the Super Bowl, I saw a play earlier today where Patrick Mahomes was scrambling his ass off, and Travis Kelce was just standing there.
There. I seen that.
So, to me, I'm not saying his heart wasn't in it, or his heart isn't in it, or is not going to be in it, but I don't think he's definitely not going to be how he was, 4 years ago. So that's going to be an issue. Like I said, I don't know how much longer Andy Reid's going to coach. Chris Jones, who knows what he's going to do. The receivers are somewhat questionable.
Yeah. All that stuff can plug and play though.
It can be, but I just think if Andy Reid's not there, depending on who will obviously replace him. Mm-hmm. I'll say the dynasty's not over, because if the Patriots can go through, what they went through, then it's possible. So I'm gonna say it's not over yet.
All right, fair enough.